podcast. My name is Bastian. I am the head of ERP integration here from Munich, and today I will talk a little bit about our integration to Jira from Microsoft Project and also to SAP. Before we will jump directly into the system and before I will show you everything, just let me show you a little bit of slides so that I can explain what integration means to us, or what we mean with integration, and also what our philosophy is behind the integration. The first question actually that I can think of basically is, we are a project management company. And so why do we, let's say, care about other systems? Why do we care about ERP systems? Why do we care about Jira and also other stuff? Well, the reason is simple. We basically are here in the middle. So we do project management with Microsoft Project, Microsoft SharePoint, and even if it's done with something else, if you want to plan your projects and if you want to steer your projects, you need a lot of information. And everything started 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, where most of the project managers had the need for financial information. So here, basically on the left side, you can have different ERP systems. The biggest, or one of the biggest, is SAP. There's also Dynamics and Oracle and other stuff. But if you want to have a successful project management, you need financial information. You need to know, what is my budget? You need to know how much is spent against the budget, and maybe is there a change in the planning that will, for example, result in the budget. So this is things like that that are interested as well for the controllers, also for the project managers. And so the automatically integration of these tools to share these information is a huge benefit for project management. Now, in the, I would say, last 4 or I would say 5 years, there is also something other coming up, which is called resource and work management. These are tools like Jira, Team Foundation Server, which is now called DevOps or something like this, and also other tools where there are also other methodologies. There's the agile methodology where you can handle your projects. Both worlds together are still very, very interesting, because in some way you have your project planning, you have your milestones, your phases. Maybe you have a milestone in a contract. You have to hit that milestone. The rest you can handle completely agile, self-organized teams, organized in sprints, and they do what they can do best. So basically, you do your project planning in here, your, let's say, rough planning or overall planning, and the details, the really details of the to-do list, you do here in Jira, in TFS. So here you have a lot more information, a lot more detail, but at the end of the day, you want to aggregate this information and put it back to Microsoft Project, or let's say to your project management, so you actually know where your project is and you know if you have to do something or maybe not. So that is actually the reason why we came along with the integration, because we figured out that for project management, as I said, information are very, very essential, and in most of the times, the information are already somewhere in the company. So let's just bring them automatically together. Well, for this, we have created a tool that is called TPG PSLink. As I said, it all comes from SAP. So there's the name originates from one of the SAP systems or modules, which is called PS. Nowadays, it's just a name because we connect a lot of things. So as you can see, we can connect to SAP, to SharePoint, Dynamics, Team Foundation Server, Jira, Primavera, other things, and also, of course, Microsoft Project, because that's the thing we are actually coming from. Now, when we think about the information we can transfer, there's a lot of things we can do. And actually, that is a very, very important point for me here. I will now, or let me say in 5 minutes, I will show you some of the use cases for integration of Microsoft Project and SAP, and also Microsoft Project and Jira. But these are just some use cases. This is, so to say, just the tip of the iceberg. We quickly figured out that there is no one fits all when it comes to integration. Everyone works basically in a different way. So everyone has a little bit of a different process. Let's say some start their projects in SAP and others starts their project in Microsoft Project. And yeah, so you can think of all varieties. And so therefore, we could not create a tool that can handle basically everything. We had to make it generic. That's why we had PSLink as it is. And basically, PSLink comes with a technology layer that can connect to the various systems. I will talk a little bit technical later on. Don't worry, I won't get into detail too much. But the interesting part is that we also have a configuration layer where we explicitly can set up your use case. So that means when you, for example, start in Microsoft Project and want automatically create a project in SAP, yes, we can do that. We can also go the other way around. The same works with Jira. So basically, we have a lot of possibilities to specifically hit your process. So just keep in mind, when later on I will show you some use cases that are just some use cases. If they do not fit with your process, that doesn't change anything. Now, the concept of integration for us is pretty simple. Basically, we want that the data is entered into the systems where it is really created, but then can be used in every system where it is needed. So for example, let's just think of one example, actual cost, for example, a purchase order, something like this. This is happening in your ERP system, but would be beneficial in your project management system. So enter it in SAP and transfer it if needed to project if needed there. So basically that is the idea of the whole concept we have with the integration. Now, when it comes especially to SAP, we are SAP certified basically since 2009. So we gave our product to SAP and let them check that. And so they agreed that everything what we're doing there is completely fine with them. We also checked that with Microsoft. Now, there's only one slide, basically, I want to talk about, let's say, a little bit technical. As I said, don't worry, I don't go into details, but it is very important for me that you understand this. And PSLink as a product, or basically PSLink is a product that is application on its own. It is not an add-on to SAP. It's not an add-on to project or whatever. It is an own application, an own middleware that you install and where you just say, well, connect to, for example, project, SharePoint, or whatever. So basically, when we connect to the various systems, so for example, SAP or Dynamics, we always use the official, let's say, APIs, the official channels of the system. So that means we don't do anything in the background with the database or whatever, but no, we use always the official APIs. So that means we have a user to connect to the system. It is completely traceable. It is completely transparent what we are doing in the systems. The users can get permission so that we cannot, let's say, use all projects or whatever are in the systems. And so that you always are in control of what we are actually doing. Now, as you see, we can connect to various systems, and the only thing that you should need to know is that we can, let's say, even if the product comes with all the functionalities, connect to SharePoint, to Jira, and whatever. But for example, if you only have project and if you only have SAP, then that's fine because you only license that part. And if you don't need Jira, fine, then you don't license it. Later on, if you want to say, well, now we're using Jira, then you just license it and the functionality comes with it. So basically, that is also a possibility of the architecture we build on. Now, When it comes now to an integration and to an interface, there are several possibilities of, let's say, doing the integration, of triggering the data shuffle from one system to another. And we have built up several possibilities there. So we have some clients, for example, we build inside of the project professional an add-in, and that is also what I will show you later on, a small add-in where you can trigger the interface. We have also an add-in in SharePoint. We have a standalone client, and we can be triggered by third-party products, by certain events. So for example, if your project is published, we can automatically do something. And of course, it can be done all automatically with a schedule. So let's say every night, every weekend, or depending, as I said, on how it's best works for your process. Now, I think I talked a lot now about integration and a lot of slides, and I think you all want to see how it looks like. So just give me 1 second, because I will now prepare the integration with Jira. Now, when it comes to the integration of Jira, and what I will show you today is that I will work as two roles, basically. So I will work as a project manager, and I will also work as a team member, because as a project manager, I will create a project plan. I will synchronize it to Jira and synchronize the information, because I have some information maybe agreed with the customer on certain work packages that I have to do. And then I will transfer them to Jira, to certain elements here. Then I will switch my role to a team member here in Jira, and then I will work on certain things, update it, and then I will push the information back to Microsoft Project, so that when I switch back to my role as Microsoft Project Manager, I can then steer my project better. Now, there's just one thing to say before we switch over, actually. I will going to show you now 2 use cases in Jira, and I think also 2 in SAP. That is, let's say, due to the time we have. We can show you a lot of more, and so if you're interested, please contact us and we can give you a whole demonstration with some more use cases if you're interested. There's just one thing I want to tell you. What I will show you today takes place in an on-premise environment. So we have a local installation of our project server, local installation of Jira, and also of SAP. But as you also get it from the polls, we can also integrate with Jira in the cloud, SAP in the cloud, and also, of course, Microsoft Project in the cloud. So that doesn't make any difference. So let's start with our first integration of Microsoft Project to Jira. As I said, I am now working in my role as project manager, and as you can see, I have prepared a little bit. I prepared my project plan in here, and I also will be fair that I also did some things before. So basically what I did is I connected that project plan to an existing Jira project I have. Now, as I said, the reason is we have just a little bit of time in here, and I want to show you, let's say, very interesting use cases. So I needed to prepare a little bit. If you're interested in the full demonstration of linking projects and stuff like that, please contact us. So as you can see here, when I go to my project information, I have also already linked it to my Jira project plan, which is the webinar integration Jira. And just when I jump into my system, that is basically the Jira system. But the project is quite empty, so there are just a few versions in it. And what I will do now, let me jump back to my project plan again. I will synchronize my task that I have here to Jira as epics. Now, why do I do this as epics? Because as you know, when you're familiar with Jira, that we have 3 hierarchy levels in Jira using Jira Software Standard. And so pushing this as epics, the team in Jira has still 2 hierarchy levels where they can do their detailed planning below. And as I said, I just want to remind you that this is one of the use cases I can show to you. If you don't work with epics, don't work with versions, it doesn't matter. Our interface is configurable, is generic, so we can set up it to your process. Now, when I want to start the integration, you see here, if you're familiar with Microsoft Project, you see a new tab in here, which is called the project group, where I have my interface already in. So basically, as project manager, I do not need to leave my project plan or my Microsoft Project client. I can do the integration directly from here. You can see a little bit of log on and log off. The reason is actually that I can give permissions to who should use these interface. And also, when I now press on execute, you will see a lot of possibilities where I can execute to. These can be also set to permissions. So I can say, well, maybe only administrators can create projects or something like this. Well, I am an administrator in my system in here, so I will see everything. And don't worry, this is our demo system, so there are a lot of jobs. Now, what I want to do here is a demo of Jira, and I want to synchronize my task as epics in Jira. So I just click on it. It will recognize in which project I am. It will recognize which project is on the Jira side, so where the connection is. That is something I, as I said, prepared already. And now what I will get is, we call it technically a differential analyze windows, but basically it is a what will happen if I synchronize. Now, at this point of time, I have not synchronized any information. It's just showing me what it's going to do. So I, as project manager, have the full control and can see, well, I want to create an epic that is called preparation of kickoff. And when I click on it, I see all the details. I see all the fields that are going to be created in Jira, and I have the possibility to check everything if that is correct, and if I really want to synchronize it, or if I want to cancel it. Maybe I messed something up, maybe I did something wrong, so I have the possibility to see it, I have the possibility to correct this. Now, I said synchronize because I said, well, everything is working fine, everything was correct, and as you can see, first of all, I get a message that says everything is okay, and also you can see that in the background, there are automatically some fields filled. So for example, the Jira issue key was automatically given. So Jira issues are created. And also I put in the hyperlink address here. So I basically directly can jump from my project plan to my Jira project, or basically to that epic. Now let me go back inside of Jira in here. And now I have to refresh the page, of course, so that it reloads everything. And as you will see, we get now all the information from here. Thank you, Jira. I don't want to do this right now. So we get all the information, the specification, the workshop, and everything. So what I basically did as project manager, I provided everything that, for example, I agreed with the customer or is in a contract or whatever, provided it to Jira, to the team, and now they do the detailed planning, because me as project manager, to be fair, I don't know what they technically are doing there. I don't have a clue of that. They know it much, much better than me, so they can do a better estimation. They can do a better job of that. And so that is what I'm going to do now. I will jump, so to say, in a role as a team member, and I get all that information, and now I can change this information. Now, what I could do is I can do a detailed planning, I can create issues and stuff like that. As I said, we are only limited in time in here, so I will use the information I have in here and just change the information a little bit. So let me just go into both of these ones. So for example, I said that this issue here is done. Thank you very much. I want to change it. And yeah, maybe let's say we also wanted to change the due date a little bit. Let's change it in here. It doesn't matter basically what information I do. It's just important that I'm, so to say, changing something. And let's say I'm using this as in progress. So I just changed information here. Basically, what information will change is also something that we will discuss then with you. What information do you want to transfer back to your Microsoft project system? In that example, we are using, for example, these ones. Now, as I said, what did I do? I'm now in the role of a team member. I changed some of the work I have to do and basically changed the status because I'm working on that. Now let me leave the role again And I will jump back to my other role, the project manager again. So I am now the project manager, and basically I'm curious what is happening to my project. So what I can do is, yes, I can go to all of that epics and I can check them in Jira, or I can just stay here. I can use the integration. I can use TPG PSLink interface here and can say, well, update the project from Jira, please. I can just click on it. I will get also this differential analysis windows again, where everything will be shown up front, and I will get the information in here. Now, there are two things that are, let's say, relevant for this. So one is the Jira due date. You see that we have a difference here of the finish and the Jira due date. Now, basic or a very good question is actually, can we also override the finish date? Simple answer, yes, we can. But let me say it is more or less a question. Sometimes it's a little bit of a religious question from project managers. Some say, yes, the information in Jira are correct, so update my project plan according to Jira, and others say, well, I am the project manager and I update my project plan. So give me the information, but if something changes, I want to see this. So for example, you see this in here because you see that you have planned the 7th of November, which is basically today, but in Jira, they said it's the 12th of November. Okay, then it is done, which is not quite logical, but it's just to show you that the information can be transferred from one system to the other. And as you see, we have also the done and in progress. And as you can see here, there are a lot of other fields for story points, for time spent and stuff like that. As I said, I won't go into all of the details today due to the time. If you are interested, contact us. Now, that is what I wanted to show you from Jira. So basically what we did is we linked the project together, we pushed information to our Jira system, we changed something there, and now we push some information back. Now that is everything I wanted to show you for Jira, because what I'm going to show you now is the integration with SAP. Now, I don't need to prepare a lot of things because I did a little bit of that. So let me just open another project I wanted to open and just close this one. So I just need to check this one out and also maybe open SAP, that we can have basically a look later on how it will look like when we're done with the integration. So just open up the SAP system here. Okay, now I have done basically nothing of the integration. As you may remind from Jira, yes, I prepared a little bit of there because I only showed some of this, and I will. But here in this use case, we will start, let's say, from the beginning. So in the beginning, I only working as project manager in here, and I also prepared my project plan in here. So I planned a little bit of information, a little bit of tasks, a consulting task, a kickoff. I have to do some expenses here. I also put on some resources. So these are some cost resources with travel costs, with services, some implementation tasks for the developers and the consultants and stuff like that. So before we start anything, before we transfer information to SAP, so basically before we transfer actual work, before we transfer actual cost and anything like that, we have to synchronize the basic information. We have to link the projects. Now, let me say it again. I will show you one use case today. If it is not yours, it doesn't matter. It is, we can configure the interface to work with your use cases. But what I will do now, I will create a project in SAP directly from my project plan in here without actually leaving it. So I go to, again, the project group ribbon in here, and also just let me resume it. I'm now doing it automatically. You can do it scheduled or actually both ways. It is no problem. What I'm going to do now is just check some of the project information I have in here. So there's basically not a lot of information in here. just the project profile I've given with and a responsible. That are some information we want to provide to SAP. And now let's do this. So I go here to execute to my SAP demo. And what I'm going to do is I say create a project definition from project to SAP. Now, the first thing that comes into play here is a project number. SAP has a numbering system, and there are several possibilities. We provide the next number, or we can ask SAP to give us the next free SAP number in that following number range. So I say find the next number, and the next number SAP has calculated is the 739 in here. So when I now say OK, then I will get my differential analysis window again. It says I want to create a project that is called n-tpg and the number. And here are some information I also want to provide. As again, me as a project manager, I have the possibility to check everything, to see if everything works, if I have messed up some of the data, and if I don't want to synchronize, but I say, yes, I want to do this. So basically now I'm back and I get the message from the interface that everything is good so far. So let's jump into the system. I will go into the project builder, the CG20N, which is the standard SAP module. And then let's just open it. So the new one was the 39. Let's just open it. And we see that the project is created. There's nothing inside of the project. So you can see here the project number, you see the name, and you see some of the information. And I recognize that I opened SAP in German. I apologize for that. Let me close that and open that in English, so it's better for us to read that. Sorry for that. So let me just switch the language to English and then go back to the project builder and again open the project. So now it's in English. Yeah, but again, we created the project here. Basically, we did nothing more, just the project. And for what we want to do next is we want to push also our task we have to SAP here. Now for this, I have to close the project again because SAP works the same way as Microsoft Project, and I can only edit the project if it is closed. So one person can edit it at a time. So I have to close it, this one. Just one thing before we do this, let me show you that when I go back to my project information in here, I can see that the project SAP definition is now here in the project information. We have it in here. And so, yeah, we created the project, we put the information back in here. Now, as I said, before we can transfer anything, before we can transfer actual cost and whatnot, we need to synchronize the structure. What I'm going to do now is I synchronize my task that I have in here to SAP. Now, one thing is I have a, let's say, complex hierarchy in here. That is what the interface will also keep in mind. So we want to keep these complex hierarchy. For this demo, I will post the information as WBS elements. We also can synchronize networks, internal orders, and what comes along with that. For simplification here, let's just use WBS elements. But there's one thing I wanted to show you. I haven't shown you that in the Jira use case, but I can show you to it here. We have built in a little custom field in here, which is called SAP is WBS element. So basically, I can choose which element I want to synchronize to SAP. So I can say, yes, I want to have all the elements, or no, maybe not every one of them. And for example, here I say, well, the training number 2, I'm not quite sure if we will deliver the training to if it is really needed. So I don't want to push it to SAP right now. I have it in my project plan as a reminder, for example, but I don't want to push it to Microsoft Project. So you have basically the possibility if you want to choose it by yourself to push it, or we can also say some rules, for example, that we say only the first 2 layers, levels of tasks in Microsoft Project are going to be synchronized to SAP, or something like this. Now let's do this. I'm going to the interface here again, click on Synchronize WBS to SAP. And again, you know this window already, but I'm not getting tired of showing this to you. So here we have the window, the differential analysis, which shows me everything that is going to be done. Yes, we want to create a thing that is called consulting, kickoff, and everything like that. And again, we can click on this. We get all the information that is going to be synchronized to SAP. Now click on synchronize, and then in the background, the information will be created. And now let's just jump directly into our SAP plan. And what you can see here, first of all, yes, the complete hierarchy is also in here. So that means we have 3 hierarchies in our Microsoft project plan. And now we have 3 hierarchies in here. We have all the numbers in here. We have all the tasks in here, except the training too, because we said we do not want to synchronize the training number 2. So this is basically the preparation for everything else that we can synchronize for forecast, for actual cost, statuses, let's say CATS integration, material management, whatever comes along, or whatever basically you can think of. As I said, this is just a little teaser now. So I will stop the integration or the demonstration right now. What I've showed you is that we can talk to other systems, that we get information from other systems, that we can post them to the systems on a very detailed level with several rules we can implement, because this is a generic interface and we can specifically tailor it to your needs. And as I said, if you want more specific demos to SAP, to Jira, to TFS, or something else, please contact us. And then I just say thank you very much.